the reality of growing up is that you gain perspective and you also gain proportion. There's so many different things that we've been through that at the time that they're happening, they feel like the worst thing in the world. And you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to ever escape this. But when you actually look back, you realise, oh, actually, it wasn't that big of a deal. But when you think back to when you were younger, the reason that things feel so terrible is because you've never experienced them before, and you go into this sense of existential shock and everything that you understood to that point didn't necessarily make as much sense. And I was just thinking about being at school and bullying, and what even is bullying. The phrase that we used to use in the UK at that time is, oh, is he picking on you? You know, is he bullying you? And most of what bullying actually is just people saying things that you don't really like. And I was just thinking back to how severely I was bullied, and the reality is that I wasn't very much. I mean, people said some nasty things. They didn't really ever do anything. I never actually got beaten up by anybody. In fact, the vast majority of people just left me to my own thing. So maybe I was lucky, I don't know. I think with a lot of these things, we get told that, oh, we must have zero tolerance policy on bullying. But they're actually protecting people from things that long run can actually be quite useful, to realise that we can withstand this stuff, we can be resilient, and we can grow up fairly healthy, which, you know, for the large part I have. I know I talk about a lot of different traumas on this channel that I've been through and things that I'm sorting out, but I know that I'm capable of doing it, and I'm not minimizing the stuff, you know, that's happened to me or anything. Some of it has been, psychologically especially, has been very, very disturbing. I mean, really disturbing, various relationships. But the thing that I am pondering now, and that actually more than pondering is really starting to embody, is that I want solid things. And the people that I've been around, they've been quite sort of out there personalities, but when it comes to human interactions, they've been quite ambiguous and argumentative, frankly. I've known a lot of contrary people who, when we've been discussing things, have on purpose disagreed with various things that I've said, almost for the sake of argument, which has been, I mean, really irritating. And the thing is, I know this because we would have had different conversations where they've disagreed, and I mean, maybe they were in a bad mood, maybe they're having a bad stage of life, who the fuck knows. But I thought, well, yeah, but we've discussed this before, and now you're just sort of disagreeing with me. And that's sort of been the death knell for a lot of relationships, where I've just thought, oh, you know, this isn't worth it. And maybe a few months ago on this channel, I talked about a particular situation with a chap that I met when I had fairly soon moved back to, you know, the village that I grew up in. And it's been very sort of up and down, but the reality is now that it's basically fizzled out, because there's just too much toing and froing, and I've found it more effort than it's worth to keep the relationship going. And I'm not completely writing it off, and who knows what's going to happen in the future, but I certainly know I want solid things, and I want to strengthen my own clarity and focus about what it is that I'm doing, what I want to do, and doing that for good reasons. You know, I want to live a virtuous and noble life, and as dignified a life as I can manage. and it's not a simple thing to do, to demand absolute moral purity. We have temptations as human beings, but I think if your focus is wanting to do as much good in the world, I think that's a good start. I genuinely do. And I spoke about the situation with the gardeners at my block in the last video, and I've been reflecting upon this, that we need direction in life. We need to have a driving force. And one of the things that I've been reflecting on actually is when I had the discussion with the gardeners yesterday. So satisfying when I had the discussion with them, that the looks on their faces, they almost became different human beings. I'll tell you, when we had the discussion and they knew what they were doing. Hello there, hi. When they had that purpose instilled in them, it was such a mutually beneficial conversation. Because I haven't actually described it like this for a while, but I often used to say that people were sleepwalking their way through life. And we find different ways of saying the same thing, but I think a lot of people feel like they're drifting at the moment, that things don't make sense. And if you're going somewhere weekly, as these gardeners are, to our property, and they're not getting any clear sense of direction, they haven't been provided with a vision of what needs doing, and they're just sort of doing things, but it's a bit vague, a bit ambiguous. And that conversation, when the two of them left and they're saying, "See you later, mate," it was really heartwarming actually. But it also means that you're living your life in a way, when you're directing things and you're being self-determined, well, that's going to translate into everything else that you do. And the thing is, by doing that with other people, well, you're giving them a sense of purpose and of direction and focus. And clarity is such a powerful thing, because those two men, I don't know how many other jobs they'll be doing, but they'll be doing a lot of other work. And so when they're imbued with that sense of purpose and one property that they work on, that is going to have an effect on the rest of the work that they do. It's going to give them more confidence, more satisfaction. They're probably going to do a better job, and as a result, they're going to live a better life. So in order to direct things, you don't have to actually do that much. But in order to direct, you have to be direct. And when we talk about a vision of things, not everybody has that much imagination. I don't think it's something that everybody has, or they don't necessarily have it to the same degrees as other people. I've always had an incredible imagination. I used to write loads of different stories when I was growing up and produce artworks that were quite sort of otherworldly, and people used to comment on it all the time, but I sort of disregarded it for some reasons. Don't really know why, but I did. And what vision is imagining a state of affairs before it's actually a physical reality. But when you have it really, really clear in your mind and you are laser focused on it, and then you go and direct people, it is incredible how fast it can manifest. And when I say I want clarity and focus, that's what I'm talking about. Getting the job done and having an image, a vision in your mind's eye and translating it to the real world. There are many more of us who are not necessarily doing that yet that are able to. And all it takes is a a tiny little spark for one person like me to go and have a conversation like that and have the ripples cast into the ether. And it's why I talk about personal sovereignty. It's why I talk about self-determination. It's why I talk about personal development, because the capacity, I am convinced, if you are watching this channel, the capacity is absolutely there in you. And all it takes is to speak, speak out the word. That's what happens at the beginning of the Bible, and first there was the word. So you have that within you, my friends. Use it, employ it, laser focus it, and you will have a really, really clear and fabulous life. Now, I haven't said this for a while, but if you find this information useful, please do like and subscribe. It really does help to actually spread the channel. I want as many people to hear these words of wisdom and encouragement as possible. So please do. And if you should feel inclined, then please do let your other friends know about this channel, because I want to help as many, many people as possible. And if you can speak these words into existence, I think that that's a good thing, and I think you do as well. Thank you very much. See you on the next video.